Hey guys, thanks for coming out. Had a really good bye week. Got a lot of good work with the guys that needed it. Got some rest for the guys that needed that. And last night we turned our attention to Virginia Tech. Got started on them, and huge task. Going on the road for the first time, I love that. Taking your team on the road, be a great environment. The players that we face on the road are going to be really good players. This is a veteran team that, as I look at them, they probably have 8 to 10 draft picks on this team, and then another 5 to 7 free agents. So they have a lot of NFL players on this team. And as I've told you guys before, good football teams in college have a lot of NFL players playing on their team, and this is one of those teams. So, offensively, it starts with the quarterback, number one, Drones. He is really big, athletic, strong arm, can create, can do it from the pocket, can run the ball. We saw him a little last year, and then I think from our game on, I guess we knocked out the other quarterback, and he came in, and then it was their ascension as a program and as a team. Kind of coincided with his development. So really a fine player. Tootin, 33, the running back, is a really good player. Low to the ground, physical, patient runner, very, very physical runner. And then their receiving core, this may be the best receiving core we go against all year. I don't know, but it'll be up there in the top 3 for sure. 83 Lane is fast, athletic. He's a day 1 or 2 pick. He's that good, but Jennings and Felton aren't far behind. We actually went down and spoke with Jennings when he was thinking about transferring. So we flew down there and visited with him. Didn't work out, obviously, but I think he's a really good player. Thought that way. And I think their tight end, who I think is just a redshirt sophomore, Gosnell, he's a really good player too. So, wherever you look in the skill game, they are loaded. When you flip over to defense, 52, I don't know, APR is what I just go by. That's what they call him. He is an electric player, right? He had 4 sacks last game, sack fumble. You really better know where he is, or he can be a game wrecker. But I think their secondary is really good. Their corners are both NFL players, and because of that, they're afforded a lot of flexibility defensively, what they can do. So they can play man, they can play zone, they can stack the box and outnumber you, and they do all that. And, Coach Pry is an excellent football coach. He's put together a really good staff. I knew him when he was at Penn State, and obviously he's the right man for that job. He's home in Virginia, and he's doing a great job building their program. So it'll be quite a challenge, one I'm looking forward to, and I know our guys are as well. And, great atmosphere, great team, and an opponent that is really gonna test us, and I'm looking forward to that. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
You mentioned their quarterback, Drones. When you watched him on film, did anything jump out at you about how much he's improved in the last year that has kind of made him an even better quarterback than what you saw a year ago? Yeah,
well, you could see his ascension, right? Like I said, I watched last year's tape, and you just see him getting better and better and better. And then this year, he is electric. Like, he can create things. There's one play where the ball's on the ground. The next thing you know, it's a huge gain. And he scoops it up, scrambles, throws it downfield, and I believe that one was to Lane. And, when you have that kind of speed and you have that kind of athleticism, you really got to be on point. Otherwise, you make one misstep and it's a touchdown.
This is your Rutgers' first trip to Virginia Tech since 2002. You were the head coach back then. What do you remember, one, about that game and just what it was like to play as a visitor at Lane Stadium?
Yeah, it's a long time ago, right? I think I was 35 years old, so 35, 36. I remember we battled. They were a much better team than we have, probably a 3 or 4 touchdown favorite. But we battled, and we hit some. I remember Aaron Martin had some big catches in that game. But yeah, certainly not good enough to win. Great place to play, and it's been expanded since then. It is, one of the better venues, and looking forward to it. But again, the team we have to play, that's the thing. The road is the road. You use that to fuel you if you're a competitor. But the level of talent that we're facing, that's the challenge.
What would you say is just the general health of the team coming out of the bye? Do you still feel like you're as banged up as you were in the preseason the first couple of weeks?
No, that's a good question. We're better than we were going into the season. We're still not back, but we are better. Certainly with Mo gone, he's not going to be back, so that's a huge hit. But we're getting better slowly. And I'm not going to get into the availability and who's going to play and who's not going to play and all that stuff because, quite frankly, some of it I'm not sure. And the ones I am sure I'm not going to talk about because we need every advantage we can going down there this week.
Philosophically, how do you approach the bye week and in terms of that balance between rest but keeping guys sharp? And you're 2-1 since you've come back under the bye week, and the loss was the Ohio State game, which may have been your best performance last year. But how do you do that in terms of just coming in week 3 with a bye?
Well, it's different, right, when you do it after 2 weeks. I kind of looked at training camp in our first 2 games as that chunk. When you get into the season, it's different. The next time we have a bye, we'll have played 6 straight games. So it certainly is different. But just as I approach training camp, the guys that are, those 750 or 1,000 rep plus guys that have played that many plays in games, it's going to be a long season. We got done what we needed to get done with them, and then we got them to doing other things, lifting, treatment, those kind of things. Guys that are trying to work their way back, we used as an opportunity for them to get reps that they needed. And then the young guys literally got, 100 game-like reps last week. So it's huge for their development. We do developmental football all season long. That's who we are. We're a developmental program. So our young guys, our redshirt guys, everybody, we go a little bit extra at the end and get them repetitions. But weeks like that can really give them a big chunk. And then we were able to go recruit, which we haven't been able to, right? After our first game, even though we played on a Thursday, we weren't allowed to go out because you couldn't go out until the 1st of September. So we missed out on that weekend, but we mobilized as a staff. I was in several different places, and we'll do that usually on every bye week. So philosophically, that's kind of the approach. Where it falls in the year determines kind of how or what you do. We do have some experienced players, though, and I wasn't just going to have them run into each other for another week without a game at the end of the week that we're preparing for. So that's kind of how we did it.
It's a small sample size, only 2 games. So what's your evaluation of your pass rush so far this season?
Pass rush. I kind of group it together with last season, which wasn't good enough, and this season is slightly improved, but we have to make substantial improvement, and this week we're going to get the maximum test. I'll tell you the truth, that first week against Howard, that kid was as mobile and as fast as I've seen in a while. I don't think Drones is quite as fast as he is, but Drones is 200 and, they list him at 230-something, but he looks every bit of 240, right? So think about a quarterback when he scrambles and you got to tackle a 240-pound man that moves. In both their games, he ran through people's tackles. So we have to strap it up. And then the guy he hands it off to, Tootin, he is really physical as well. So this is going to be a physical game on the road. You better pack your toughness, that's for sure.
Rutgers and Virginia Tech ranked near the top in terms of returning production last year. Does that change your preparation and game planning at all, knowing something that's not too common in non-conference games, that we matched up with your guys last year and you guys matched up with our guys last year as well?
Well, we played each other. I think both teams were quite different back then. We played each other early. We were both trying to figure out. We were coming off a 4-8 season. I think it's a little different now. I know they're much more developed, and their quarterback situation has, become crystallized over the course of last season. If you remember going into last game, there was talk about who was going to play, and the guy was injured, and Jones was challenging him anyway, and there was a lot of conversation. That's all not the case now. They have their guy. They have skilled people, like I said, that are NFL players. So we have our hands full for sure, and we're going to go down and just kind of do the best we can and see where the chips fall.
Last year, before you guys faced Iowa, you said Kirk Ferentz, what he built at Iowa was something you'd like to do here at Rutgers. Frank Beamer obviously built a huge program at Virginia Tech. Did Frank Beamer kind of lay the blueprint for building a program over the long haul, building it to what he built it? And have you ever talked to him about that, or do you view what he did at Virginia Tech kind of as a blueprint for what you can do here at Rutgers?
Well, Coach Beamer, he certainly did an unbelievable job in his time at Virginia Tech. He put him on the map in major college football. So certainly if we could duplicate that. They played in '99. They played for the national championship. So, yeah, that would be a great path to follow. I can't say that I was ever real close with Coach Beamer, but I will tell you this. As we're getting ready for the game, I remember I was a 35-year-old head coach sitting at the league meetings with, some of the elite coaches in the country. And Coach Beamer was always very kind. You could tell that a young coach was a little bit uneasy about the situation, and Coach Beamer would always pull you aside and kind of give you a little, hey, just be careful with this, or, this is going to come up in the meeting. I always appreciated that. I try to do that with young coaches now, because when you're in there, you don't know what to expect. 1 minute you're coaching the defense and making sure the guys are all lined up and not worried about all that other stuff, and now you're sitting in a meeting and they're talking about making decisions that'll affect college football, affect your program. So he was helpful in that way, and I always think about that as he didn't have to do that, and he did. So I'm appreciative.
Speaking of leadership, Ryan Pisarri has been in the interim athletic director role for about a month now. What's been your experience with him? What kind of job do you think he's done so far?
Well, Ryan, as you may or may not know, was our football administrator all along since I came back. So he works closely with Will Gilkison and has done a great job for us for the 5 years we've been back. And when he took over, he stepped in and has done a very good job. I think certainly is a guy that wants to work, wants to get it done, wants to make sure that he's doing everything that he can to help our program and all the athletics programs here at Rutgers. So, yeah, I'm pleased with everything he's done, and really it's been seamless. Yeah. All right, guys, and I appreciate, like I said, you covering us, and we'll see you down in Blacksburg.